Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to When Pigs Fly. I am Patty, and I am joined today by Renee and Tracy. Good morning, ladies.
Morning.
All right, first, we want to welcome all of our new subscribers. We hear you, we see you, and we feel you. And thank you for liking and subscribing. This community is, gosh, we've exceeded now, I think it's 35 nations globally. So thanks for shining your light here. We love you guys. And today, we're going to talk about, and you hear this almost daily from me, but we're really going to dig in about the speed of this evolution. Um, and how it's affecting us and how do we operate, when things are changing so rapidly in our environment and everywhere, within us, mostly within us, and we're going to start to be witnessing this outside because, creation is energy focused into form. So this energy is just like lighting it up and all those feelings that you're having about feeling electrocuted and stuff. That's kind of what we're going to talk about today. So who would like to kick this one off?
Trace.
So, sorry, my brain's scrambling on another subject. And honestly, it ties right into how the energies are changing and evolving. And I was just saying to the Patty and Renee that my husband's texting me from 100 miles offshore, and I'm like, wait a minute, he's not using the technology that he usually uses. If you're anything boat, there's Garmin, there's ePerp, there's a lot of emergency and technology to communicate. And he just sent me back, and he's like, no, Wade finally got Starlink hooked up. So if anyone knows, I think it's I'm going to blank on his name.
Elon Musk.
Thank you. And we've been trying to get it at our property in Georgia for a while and have not been able to get it. So it's not as available as anyone might seem. So and I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Oh my God, he was able to get it. So as Patty's talking, this is going through my brain and I don't even know what you said, Patty. Love you, but I was out in another.
No worries.
But it's so funny that it's all happening because look how quickly things are available. The fact that he is 100 miles offshore, wrap your head around that, in the middle of the ocean, and he's just plain texting me. He's not using the technology that we've had on hand that has made it possible, which segues right into our last episode of when we're looking for proof. A lot of the proof that we're looking for is already outdated. It's already old. We're already in new energies. The availability is here and now, and there is no proof because we are creating the proof in the moment. And how freaking amazing is that?
Yay,
Right?
us. Yay, us.
So, yeah. So, oh my God, we could go 1,000 different directions. I'm still kind of spiraling in the amazingness of it all of there's so much that's possible, and we are creating the proof in our thoughts and our actions and in our knowing in the present moment. So if that's not one of the most empowering things going, right? Gosh,
Yes.
creation on steroids. Let's do it.
Absolutely. We're moving into we're conscious creators focusing energy into form. And with not with your history files. And by the time the energy is moving so fast, and I know all of you that in our community already know this, you can see by the time even I'm talking about a Schumann report, even if I've pulled it in the moment, that's already zipped by, and we're already like our consciousness is jumping forward at such a fast rate. And I got guidance that we've already exceeded what the expectations were in this evolution. We've already exceeded it, which is like the best because what does that mean? We've gotten to this beautiful creation mode, which is very true to the month of June. I was shown that it's going to be new. And then when you think that that's, oh, okay, that's new. Oh no, now you're getting another layer of new. And it's like they're really pushing us into embodying and embracing being a conscious creator, and why we're saying go within, and what brings you joy and what's your desire. That's what's helping your guides to go, okay, here's the next piece you're ready for. We get it just a piece at a time. And we can't even imagine. And I was told that we're going to get the energy. We're going to be able to, and some of us can already sense this, sense the energy coming into form as it's coming into form. So for those of you who feel like a quote unquote frustrated manifester, really tune in and play. This is like play and create from a clean slate. Right? How many of us have said in our lives, man, I wish I could just make this whole thing go away? Well, the energy is here to support that, and understanding that we created, unconsciously, most of it unconsciously created what's existing now. And now I shouldn't say now because it's new, but in the past. And then moving forward, it's in the now moment. This is why being present is everything. So if you're in your head, you've left the present moment. And for me, what I have felt in this ascension process is so cool that I feel so, when I'm present, I feel so much even more into my body and grounded and connected in such a deeper way than ever before. And I understood that it was for me doing work on my soul, is that my soul felt so disconnected when it got here. And I know a lot of you, we've had these discussions in the community. You feel like that black sheep that served you because it kept you out of trying to fit in, which is that collective consciousness where you're not being authentic, you're not being yourself. And you were so worried about being accepted and fitting in instead of, right? And so that black sheep thing now is your golden ticket to ascension, to getting there quicker and just embracing that and going with it. And so, but I know that I absolutely now don't feel that disconnect that I felt. And it was really me searching for that energy. My body was craving and my being was craving that experience. And I was like, wait, where is it? I knew love before I came in. And then where is it? And what do I need to do to get it? And then now it's so beautiful to feel it and live it and embody it. And I know many of you are already feeling this. And keep in mind that those purges, some that feel so sharp and that like sudden grief or sudden, that's on its way out. It's just leaving you. But on the flip side, like we always say, like focus on, hey, what's going right here? Bigger and brighter and like just higher levels of love, of joy than we ever imagined before. It's accessible now, and the creation always happens now. Tracy, thank you for bringing that up because I think you're going to be hearing the word now coming out of us a lot moving forward. Renee.
Yeah. And something had come in this morning, and it's doubling down on what you were saying, Patty. And, we've created everything, and that's really like in the old. The old is we've created every single thing. So if you're stressing about something happening in the world itself, well, we have helped create that because that's what we're talking about. That's what you're putting our thoughts to. If you're complaining about, a coworker or the government or, something, you're helping to create that. So again, let's think of that as the old energy. Okay, you're in this energy of now, and like Patty said, we're in June. Okay, so this is this beautiful energy, this newness. It's here. It's all about new. All right, well, let's utilize that and let's take that into effect because we've only got a week left of June. So what's that point of if you haven't been doing it before, let's do it now. And that aspect of we're starting to recognize and realize, okay, something's coming forward. You're experiencing this whatever that you don't want to be experiencing, and you click in like, oh wait, that's the old energy. What am I doing now? And if you're having a problem getting into the present moment of now, ask for assistance. Okay, guys, help me be in the present moment of now. And the truth of the matter is, even just now when I did it, I'm like, okay, guys, because this I'm used to doing like kind of. They immediately brought the energy back here, back into me, like back into my heart. They're like, no, ask yourself, okay, guys, like now come here. Okay, guys, right into the heart, like you're talking all versions of you. Okay, let's now move into this moment of now. Right now is perfect. I'm asking for assistance from my heart. Like, how great is that? And the same, the more you do that, the easier it's going to become. It's, don't think that, oh, okay, all of a sudden, oh, yes, then I'm there. like they have said before, in challenge and different stuff, that and Patty, you said that, I believe, and Tracy, you may have said that, where everything is so instant now. Like, we're so used to getting everything like very, very quickly. What the healers were saying even this morning was, you really think that everything has to be instant. So the human being, they were saying mankind. So mankind really believes, okay, I'm going to ask for this and I'm going to have it right now. Have you forgotten how many years you have been creating the other of what you want? And I used to get this a lot. I haven't gotten this in many years, thank God. But people say, well, when am I ever done? When am I ever done with this? Like, I'd be like, when is your life done? Like, what? Like, that was just such a weird concept to me. Like, when are you done? Like, oh my God, we are evolving like at such a great pace and everything's moving. Like, how can you not be excited to see like what the next thing is? And it's that aspect of really starting to recognize and know that when you're asking for something, it's going to be that patience and perseverance is going to be what's going to carry you forward. Have the patience that recognize it, see it. Oh, I was in that moment for 2 seconds. Like, oh my God, how awesome is that? And trust me when I say sometimes that 2 seconds, like when I first started doing that years ago, I was like, oh my God, I must have been in there for like an hour. And I'd be like, wow, what the hell? It's still the same time. So it was mere seconds must have went by. But it feels like that. But the more you're recognizing it, appreciating it, thanking yourself for it, the more is going to come, the easier you're going to be able to move into that. Makes sense?
Absolutely, it does. And just keep in mind, there's a gestation period. There's a gestation period for what you're creating. And the caution is don't say, where is it? Or how is it coming? Because, and we've had guests on before that, like, I'm recalling Kate, for example, when she talked about how she manifested a partner in this skincare product that she was shopping for an organic bra but she was in alignment with what, right? That was something that she was looking for her. It was in alignment with who she is. And lo and behold, the person that was selling the bra was also creating skincare products, and there was a natural co-creation. And so, I mean, this is part of our vision for the community is that as you guys are sharing your gifts, and Renee, I think you were saying this off camera, but it's perfect to bring it in now, in that other people, like all of your popping in from all different parts of the world, you're following the energy. There's going to be synchronicities and synergies amongst you guys as well. That's going to be so beautiful, and you're going to have natural co-creation together. And it's always what feels like the next step. And there's a reason we don't need to know the how and the why and the planning and stuff, because often what I have found now is, number one, you're denying yourself of the experience that your soul wanted you to have, because part of the journey is you're meeting people, you have collaborators, you have co-creators that you meet. There are beautiful experiences along the way that leads to it. If we just sat here and snapped our fingers and said, I want this, I want this, that's not going to fulfill you. It's it's just not. And so, being being present and allowing the process to play out, although it's so beautiful knowing that we're going to really, I know a lot of us were saying trust, and but we're getting so in tune that we are going to be feeling the energy. What are we? We are light beings. We are light focused into form. Quite literally, we're infinite light. We're infinite light beings focused into form, having this experience, and we came here to expand consciousness, and we've exceeded it. Yay! So now let's have fun in the conscious creation part. I mean, this is like what many of us have been waiting for, and it's here, and it's here now. And I mean, this goes um many different levels, which I think is going to be a future conversation about parallel realities, because the reality that you're looking to create already exists in another parallel. So it's cool. And all we're doing is you're accessing that energy and getting into that energy and aligning yourself with it. And for anybody, and then I think Tracy's got something here I can feel. um, I want to add a thing in that when some people will say, how do I know when to take action? And I know that can be a tricky one because I was a maniacal workaholic when I was in corporate and just felt like I was like, oh no, the more you do, then that leads to it. And now, um, when all I'll tell you is, when it's time to take that inspired action. It comes to you and you just start going. Something will present itself, the step presents itself, and then you just do that whole step to the best of your ability until you feel like, okay, now I can't go anymore, and the next step will come. And very often, I have found that I'm doing something, like for a long time, I was, building my coaching business and I kept iterating it. It was this subject, 2 weeks later was another subject, 3 months later was another subject. And I know my friends were like, what the hell are you doing now? And I'm like, no, well, this is where I'm at today. And so don't be afraid to just jump and iterate. Forget about all about the judgment. Throw it out the window. What you need, it'll be very clear and obvious when it's time for you to take action, and just don't get into the noodle. Just, you already have the knowledge within you. It's just coming forth for you to go play with. So, Trace.
I don't know, Renee, you had your eyes. Do you got something first?
Nope, nope.
Okay. I will just say that I am working with, playing, and loving being a walking contradiction, because I am walking, talking creation, but I'm also fine with it being a process and a progression. And really the definition of those things contradict each other, but that's what we're busting out of the constraints of a definition. And well, how can you be manifesting that right now in the second while you're also allowing it to be a process and a progression? I don't know. I just can, because it's a complex energetics. And if you allow them both to be present and possible, which, like I say, by science and definition is impossible, then it's magic. So it's kind of that thing. I had this appreciation of that. I heard some other person say it, and I really resonated with me, that I learn as I talk. And I literally will listen as I'm speaking. I'm learning from my own words, which tells me that I'm drawing from universal intelligence, not my brain, not my knowing, not my understanding. So I can listen to myself and be like, wow, that's fascinating. What did I just say? And what did I mean? And then for me, it gets even more interesting and more cool if I'm actually in conversation. Now, here's my walking contradiction. I'm not learning. I'm not listening to anyone, learning from them, which is all valuable and all good, because that's part of this podcast. And both in conversation, it's the intelligence exchange. So it's not a learning, it's a progression of information and intelligence, which is, I get it, it's very complex, but it's super cool. And we're saying that. That's exactly what we're saying. I'm just putting it in a kind of a complex conceptual understanding because it's how I see it. But it's so cool that we are creating in the moment while simultaneously allowing it to be a process. Does that make sense?
100% it does. Yeah.
So there's both. Allow the process, but yeah, totally own and create in the now. And have expectations with the compassion and an understanding that it is also a process, right? It's kind of saying contrasting things and allowing it to be both possible.
Yeah. And you got to slow your roll. Slow your roll if you're doing it, and allow it until you get, it's like a skill. You develop it, but slowing it down can help you be in the moment. And there's so many different tricks you can use to be in the moment. Like if I'm walking, I try to find 5 new things, even if I'm walking the same path. And it forces that focus, right? Attention and authenticity is our currency in 5D. So it's like, okay, what can and then I'll go more with that. Like I'll go cellular, like, ooh, does this plant, I'm coming up on this plant, I'm feeling a vibe. What is it going to tell me? So I like really go have fun with it. It truly is unlimited.
Yeah. And what I sort of want to say something you said earlier, Patty, that, the healers, whatever we're bringing forward, like a lot of people we tend to get into, and this is really an old energy. Okay. But they're saying a lot of people are saying in that mindset of, well, when I can do this, then I'm going to be this, or when I have this, then I'm going to be. And they said, get out of that, because number one, you already have it. You're just not resonating with it. So, and like you said, like another, reality, it's there. And I've actually been, playing with, just thinking of things as a random things or feelings, not a particular anything, because there's really nothing that I honestly need, right? So I'm like, okay, well, let me just, play with, moving through time and doing this. And I'm like, okay, well, there's a version of me that is, sitting there in just like total bliss, just really, because I'm not really a relaxer. Like, I don't really like set, like, you do something and I come home and it's like, they say the Tasmanian devil, because I'm always doing. So I'm like, well, there's a version of me that's just like laying in the, sand somewhere, like enjoying life. Like, okay, this is great. So I'm like, okay, let's jump into that reality. Let's see that. And it's really interesting that, just, sort of breathe. I'm like, okay, like I'm going to resonate with that. And, I'm going to jump through time and go through that. And all of a sudden, like, I don't think anything else. That's all I'm doing. I'm like, oh, what's that going to feel like? That's got to be really weird for me. But like, let's feel it. Let's experience that. And then all of a sudden, I feel my whole body just like relax. And I get this thing, not laying in the sand, but I get this thing of like this big, pillowy something that I'm literally like laying in. And literally, like I say she, because like it doesn't really resonate to me. I'm like, wow, she's really chilled there. Like she's really relaxing. Like, yeah, I almost want to be like, get up, do something. And I'm like, no, Renee, you're there to experience that. So like try and like play with like different things. And like if you're like, okay, well, I want this because then I'll know I'll be happy, or I'll know. No, just jump into that time of happiness. Like, okay, you have it inside you. It's in the cells, it's in the organs, they say. It's just letting that, because it's a resonance. Remember, it's a vibration, it's an energy. You want to resonate with that. And that's the new thing they've been bringing, like, resonate. I'm like, yeah. Isn't that vibration? They're like, yeah, but we're using new words now.
It's the familiar feeling.
Yeah.
Because
So
when you do plug in, right?
Yeah, when you plug in like you do, like it's such a cool thing. And then trying not to get out of your head, but and then I was playing with the fact that I was actually talking to me as though I was somebody else. Like, don't you want to get out? Are you okay, man? Being there. And I just remembered like nothing affecting that version of me. Nothing. Like no matter what I was saying, and I knew I could see the vibrational energy going into her ears and all that. And like I knew she was hearing. And she just was like so chill. So start to play and get out of that whole thing of like, I have to have this because you already have it. Go into the feeling of having that. Because if you think that's going to make you happy, it's not. Because then you have that and you're like, yeah, but if I had it, like look back in your life and do that. Like just start to resonate with like different things. Like what's it going to be like in like 10 years? What's it going to be like in a week? What's a week like? Like I'm always like, trying to jump through and like, hey, well, what's it like there? What did I do last week? What could I do differently? And it's weird because I'll get these little thoughts of like, and then when it happens, and I've even had my daughter say, we've had this conversation before. This is like deja vu. I'm like, I know, but we're changing it now because I got like before I got to change this. Now we're going to change it. And she's like, okay. Like, and then I'll say something different. So play with it. Like, this is such a crazy, cool, amazing time. Like, let's go, like, bring it on and just, keep asking.
The daydreaming. The daydreaming is so freaking powerful. And what I do is how I journal this is, wouldn't it be fun too? And I just go off. Wouldn't it be fun to wake up to the ocean waves? Wouldn't it be fun? Like I've got my whole list. And it's funny because I could share something that I manifested recently that I wasn't even, here's the point. I wasn't even trying to. I was playing with my wouldn't it be fun too. And all of a sudden I looked down at my list and I was like, how did I leave out World Cup soccer? Like that's something I'm so passionate about. I love it. I love going to the live games. So I wrote down, wouldn't it be fun to go to a World Cup soccer game? And 2 days ago, I get this email from this one of these streaming companies, right? And it was about not like World Cup qualifications because they qualify 2 years in advance. Like World Cup's not for 2 more years, but I was like, oh no. I know I want to experience that. So I was like, oh, picturing myself with my face paint, and I put on hair extensions with the colors of the flag. Like I'm like full in. And so I'm reading this thing, and every country is on there except my team that I like, and no Brazil. And then they were like, I was like guided to look it up. The Brazilian team is playing in Los Angeles in 10 days. Shut up. I was like, there we go. Now I get to go like boom. And I was like, wow, that was so fast. It's that experience. And now I'm going to go double down on it and like be in there screaming, like screaming my head off like a maniac and having the best time of my life. But that is how, when you plug in, literally, when you're doing the wouldn't it be fun list, pick
Mhm.
something, sit there and close your eyes and get in that moment. And that is what you're doing is tuning into that radio station. Okay, let me tune in, connect. But the energy is just freaky fast. Like we're talking about the speed of evolution, our speed of creativity is increasing. But it's like be patient, and then you never know which of those wouldn't it be fun twos is going to hit, and then you can be in anticipation and go, ooh, great. What else is on my wouldn't it be fun to experience list? And remember, if it comes into your experience or your awareness that you're writing it there, your soul drop that into your heart for you to follow. And when you connect with those energies, it's magic, right? It's the magic happens. Trace?
Um, two things here. I'm going to jump back into Renee's about the playing in timelines, because I had a thing that I think it was someone was having a surgery of some sort a week later, and I kind of had this understanding, we'll jump in and make this poultice and do that. And the surgery hadn't happened, but I did all this work in the future. And then I'm like, so wait, and it's like, yeah, it's done. Don't even worry about it. And I handled a couple different trajectories of what could happen in that future timeline and shot forward and did the work before anything ever happened. So, and that kind of tags into, not only can you project into a timeline, but here's what it was like. I saw if you go forward and do work in the future in a different timeline, the energy can ripple back, and
Oh, wow.
it changes the present moment. So that actually, it was more so, I was
Ooh,
like, whoa, so we can do a reverse
wow.
creation, like jump a week
Yeah.
forward and be like, this is how, and then like, well, now you know, didn't even do that. You already addressed that. So now that outcome got taken out of the time frame because you addressed it forwardly. Okay, so that can be like, ooh,
No,
to most
Tracy,
people.
it makes sense energetically though, because you shifted the trajectory by going forward.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
Yeah.
I know
No, I know.
what's.
We're sharing with our listeners. Like I'm trying to
So
put it
yes.
together. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So, but if anyone is saying, well, how is that possible? That's not possible. You guys are talking crazy. How does that even work? I wanted to go back to the speed of evolution of this whole Starlink thing coming in at the beginning of the conversation. Tell me how this works. Tell me how I can FaceTime someone in Japan. So I find it interesting that we will so easily absorb and adapt to the technology that is palpable and present for us, but there's so much doubt in, well, of course we can go into a future trajectory which will influence our now,
Mm.
which is kind of beyond. We are a little bit comfortable of we can influence our future, but no, go into the future and influence your now is one step ahead of progression. And then I want to just re-punch back in. People, this is happening. Energy is amazing. And the energy available, we just take for granted. Like, how are we all three on this computer and how many 100 people are listening to us? So, God, sink your teeth into the conversations we're having, because that's how it happens. That is the speed of evolution. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go to my future self and boom. Okay. I expect to wake up tomorrow morning and have be a new me, which, oh, by the way, we're doing, right?
Oh
at the
gosh.
speed that we can handle and at the visual that we can handle at this point, because guess what? It's a progression. Right. Back to you, Renee. Right. We
I love that. I
honor
love
the process and the progression.
Yeah, I love that whole thing. I'm gonna start doing it. Like I love even the way you described it within, you're right. Like I was like, oh yeah, because when you said like I jumped forward and worked on that and then it was done, and then how the energy tripled back, I was like, oh my God, yeah. You could see that like, oh my God, this could change everything. People imagine all of us doing this stuff and like, bouncing
Yeah.
forward in changing how we even perceive the world. Like, okay, hey, let's have like, hey, the government is all in support of us now. They're all like,
Mhm.
holy shit, like this is freaking awesome. Like we can change so many things. Let's get her done. Let's like, oh my God, I'm
Let's go.
excited.
Yes. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yep.
I love it. Fix it, change the trajectory, right? What outcome do you want? What's your desired outcome? Jump forward and make it happen. Jump forward and create it. Love that. Wow. Great, great discussion. Thank you, ladies, so much. This was cool. And I love, if this flipped your lid open, keep the lid open. We got more coming. We're just getting going here in June. Or almost the end of June, but
Yeah.
all right. Well, thank you, ladies, for another fun and amazing discussion. And thank you again to all of you who are listening. Keep liking and subscribing and sharing with those whom you deem are ready to hear this. Whoever's ready to play, create, and have fun, send them our way. All right. We love you all, and I'll see you guys next episode.
Bye.